Hi, and welcome to GitHub Universe 2022. We're so excited to welcome you back to day 2 of our in-person event. So if you're here in San Francisco with us, then you know that we're in a beautiful downtown San Francisco at the Yerba Center for the Arts. And thank you for being a part of with us, even if you're online. Anjuan Simmons is my name. I'm the engineering manager responsible for GitHub sponsors, and I'm from Houston in the great state of Texas, and I'm here with...
I'm Christina Warren. I'm a senior developer advocate at GitHub, and I work with a lot of the product teams. I work with a lot of the community members. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, spent a lot of time in New York. Now I live in Seattle, and I'm super excited to be here right now with all of you, back here for day 2 of GitHub Universe.
Super cool. Now, we're going to be with you for the rest of the day, and we're your guides to the best material that Universe 2022 has to offer.
That's right. Now, so right now, this is the pre-show, and over the next 30 minutes or so, we are going to take a look at what's coming today. We're going to recap the best of what happened yesterday, so if you missed some stuff yesterday, don't worry, we're going to recap that. We're going to take you on a tour of the hub here at the YBCA, and this is very exciting for both of us.
Absolutely.
In just a couple of minutes, we're going to be joined on stage by our big boss, the CEO of GitHub, Mr. Thomas Dohmke. So we're going to be looking back first a little bit at day 1. So, Anjuan, what stood out to you about yesterday's sessions? There were so many great content sessions. I had to catch up after we got home because we were up here doing the hosting thing, and I was like, I need to watch the sessions. Right. You can do that online, by the way. But what stood out to you?
I went back and forth, and it's almost like we asked this question throughout day 1, and my answer was different because every hour I had new wonders. But I'm going to go back to just Copilot. I think that having a pair programmer on demand is going to be amazing, whether you've written code for 20 years or for 20 minutes. And I know that I've written Markdown for years, but I always have to look up, how do you do a URL again? Where are the brackets? And so it's going to help you no matter where you are on your coding journey. How about you?
Yeah, no, I love the stuff with Copilot. Copilot for Business, I think, is going to be really exciting.
Absolutely.
For a lot of places. I also really enjoyed some of the sessions on how Copilot can be used in education.
Absolutely.
Because I think that will play a big role. We've talked about this in democratizing things. I really also loved Kyle's presentation, his keynote at the end of the day, looking at some of the stuff that's going to happen in the future, some of our big moonshots for the future. I loved that.
Amazing.
All right, now we are going to be checking in live with our pal Damo over in the registration area here at the YBCA. Damo, over to you.
Hey folks, good morning. We are here, and it's a crisp morning, especially for an Aussie like me. I'm standing here right in front of the registration booth, getting ready to kick off the day, see a whole lot of sessions, starting of course with Stormy Peters' session, keynote for day 2. Because it's a bit crisp, I need a bit of energy. It's a long day ahead. I'm actually going to go and grab a coffee. This is closed, I don't know why. I'm just going to go and grab a coffee. I'm going to get my day started. Oh, thank you. I just need this service all the time. Make sure you catch all of the sessions on all our 4 streams, and plus the extra stream that we give you with all of the content that we really need you to look at. Enjoy the day. I'm going to talk to you a little bit later from the hub where I'm going to walk you around. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you so much, Damo. All right, we would love to hear more about what you all thought about day 1 and what you're looking forward to on day 2. And we have a couple ways you can do that. So first way, probably the easiest way, even though it's kind of a funny way to do it right now given everything that's happening in the real world, you can shout us out on Twitter. Use the hashtag GitHub Universe. You can also use either of our usernames. I'm film_girl. He's at Anjuan with a J.
That's right.
Do that.
And checking the clock, we're about 30 minutes out from the keynote kicking off for day 2. And in addition to Twitter, you can also reach out on discussions. Now, one of the things that I love about GitHub is that we live, breathe, and just marinate in our own software.
Yeah, we use it. We build GitHub on GitHub. We live and die by it, when we're dogfooding it all the time. It's
absolutely.
Great. Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. So that means that when there are experiences that may not be the best on GitHub, we go through it too. But the great thing is that we can fix those experiences and fix it for you too. Now, the Universe 22 discussions page is designed for you to interact with the presenters for each session. You can share feedback. You can also see what's going on here in San Francisco. Now, we've seen some really great engagement from speakers who have upcoming sessions posting what's happening in their sessions. So it's a really amazing way for you to not just hear about the speakers, but you can not only hear their talks, but you can hear from them and get a sense of who they are as people as well, which I always love, getting to know the people behind the program.
No, absolutely. Discussions is also a great way just to kind of chat. So this is actually sort of cool. So RMW on GitHub, Rebecca, if you caught her talk, GitHub Desktop is for everyone, you know that she talks a little bit about like the different Git personalities. And I love this. She uses Rainbow Bright's Color Kids to illustrate this.
Right.
I love this. If you missed her talk, you can also check it out today at 12:45 PST. But on discussions, she asks, are you like, the red butler, which is a little fiery, a little spicy, somebody who likes to experiment? Or are you like Lala Orange, creative, expressive, very focused on collaborating with your amazing teammates? Are you like Blue Butler? You're particular about how you like to do things and focused on the best and most efficient workflow and, mixing and matching tools? Or are you like Shy Violet? You're nerdy and you love to philosophize. All right, Anjuan, what is your Git personality?
I'm totally boring. I'm Blue Butler. I like to just kind of get in, get out, be efficient. What about you?
I'm Red Butler, for sure.
Oh.
I'm a little spicy. I like to experiment. I like to commit directly to production, even though GitHub usually doesn't let me. I'm the person that you like, most people are like, Christina, can you just not? So, yeah, that's my Git personality.
Classic film girl.
Yeah.
We've got incredible sessions happening all day today, including a look at how GitHub is supporting data science and machine learning, an in-depth look at how GitHub uses GitHub to build GitHub, as Christina just said, and a special spotlight on maintainers.
That's right. And if you are watching us anywhere other than at GitHubUniverse.com, let's continue our drinking game from yesterday, but also probably stick with water because we're going to say it a lot. Now is a good time to head over to the site, that is GitHubUniverse.com, and register so that you can plan out your viewing schedule for the day, and you can see what we have planned, for the rest of the day. The keynote will be streaming live on all the socials, but after that, the only place that you can view the rest of today's content, as well as all the video on demand stuff, is going to be at
GitHubUniverse.com.
Yep.
And to give you a sense of what content looks like and what we're having to offer at GitHub Universe, here's a quick look at day one of Universe.
What do you mean, what is GitHub? Let me show you.
Good morning. Hello, GitHub Universe. 94 million developers call us their home.
Watch this. Hey GitHub, run program.
I am thrilled to announce that Codespaces will be available for all GitHub users with up to 60 hours of free usage every month.
Today, I'm pleased to announce the release of GitHub Enterprise Server 3.7.
I'm excited to announce a $10 million GitHub fund in partnership with M12.
Last month alone, push protection stopped over 1,000 secret leaks.
The users of GitHub are a spectrum of skills, goals, experiences, needs, and motivations.
AI is both learning from and serving open source developers.
Please go out there and become active in open source.
There are a lot of other ways people will use things.
With GitHub, anything is possible.
All right, as you know, we are here at the Yerba Buena Center for the Arts. It's an amazing location, YBCA. And to show you a little bit more about it, we're going to throw to Damo. Hey, Damo.
Hey, how is everybody? We are here at the hub. Now, this is a little bit of a sneak peek because we're not open yet. You'll see a couple of the staff are hanging around. I'm going to show you a couple of the things that we have here. We call them activations for the people who are on site. So let's come over. Right here is our Ask GitHub station. So we have stickers, we have all sorts of things. Don't worry, I won't interview you. But I do have a question about GitHub that I'll come back later. Don't worry. All right, great. Over here, we have a handful of really cool activations as well. So if we can look up, you can see there's all these prisms and stuff up in the ceiling. They're like these light adjusting things. And you can adjust them. Ooh, it actually works. Look at that. Okay, so we can move these little blocks around. If you can see on the little pedestal here, we can move these blocks around. We can put that there and it will change the light. I don't know, how are we going? Can we do that? Put them around, changes the light. Anyway, we've got some pretty cool stuff here. This is great for all of the people who are here on site. They can do a few things. I'm going to move away from the music a little bit, but we've got a demo and donuts. So some of our sponsors are doing some demos. Some of our hubbers are doing some demos as well. Let's head back this way if we can. I'm going to come around this way. And one of the coolest little activations we've got here, one of the coolest little demos is an AI-driven portrait gallery. So what attendees will do is they'll come up and they'll get a photo taken. They'll give a prompt for some AI backgrounds as well. Excuse me, sorry. And they'll sit there and they'll get a photo taken. I'm going to actually try and do this while we're here as well. So I think I have to sit and pose, which is good. That's what I was trained for. I'm going to talk through this as well. Oh, I've got to look over here. This is fantastic. What compelling TV that is. So they're taking my photo and then we're going to put it on the screen just over here behind. But this is an example of the kind of AI software. I think what's the software behind it? It was demoed in the keynote as well, I think. What is it, sorry? Stable diffusion, which we've seen a couple of times actually. I think we saw in the keynote in code spaces, you can actually run stable diffusion in a code space in Jupyter Lab as well, which is pretty impressive. Now, all of these little activations are for the people on site. There is the Ask GitHub, there's the Stable Diffusion AI demo. We've got demos from our sponsors. We've also got these other sections where people can come and try out some of the features that are running as well. Some of the things we've announced, try out the new projects, try out new code spaces. And remember, code spaces, one of those announcements was 60 hours of free code spaces for everybody in GitHub, which means that we'll be able to get up and running with new projects really, really quickly without doing that work. Let's just head over this way. You can see behind me as well on this screen, there's a handful of images already there. I'm sure I'll show up at some point, but we've got a cute capybara in the cloud at the moment. There's all sorts of really creative stuff. Let's just head over this way a little bit. These stations are where the attendees of GitHub Universe can try out some of the features. So we've got some headings that will come up. There's actions, advanced security. As I said, this isn't open yet. We're giving you a little bit of a sneak peek. Drink stations, comfortable couches, plenty of things to play with as well, which is fantastic. We've got some magnetic stuff, rubber ducks all over the place. And you can see, yeah, really comfortable couches. These will be full of people during the day, eating, drinking, discussing GitHub and all of the features that we're running at the moment. Now, I had a little play with this before. Let's see if we can do it again. These little stations control the lights up above. So if we can grab one of these blocks, put it on there, and then the lights above me will actually change as I play with these things. So you can control the lights in this room, which is pretty great. I could play with this for hours, but I don't think that's compelling TV either. But this is the kind of thing that we've got set up here. It's a super colorful space. We have a lot of these activations, a lot of these things for people to play with. Out there is Hubot. We can't get there to show you, unfortunately, but Hubot is a bot, I guess, a chat bot that we've got, and it can give you your future, tell you your future. What else? We've got a walk of stars. Oh, there we go. We've got some color changing now. We've got a walk of stars out there. We've got plenty of food and drink out at the stage. We've got lots of stuff going on as well. Now, in about, what's the time now? About 1:15. So in about 45 minutes, this will be opening straight after Stormy's keynote. Make sure that you are going to githubuniverse.com to have a look at all of the tracks and all of the sessions. Make sure you register there. As well as that, our social media, make sure if you're on site, follow GitHub Universe. If you're on site or if you're on site or off site and you're following along online, it's the GitHub Universe hashtag. So make sure you tell us what you're seeing here, what sessions you're looking at, and what you're interested in today. Remember, 4 tracks. We have cloud, AI, security, and community. And then, of course, our main track, which shows you all of the stuff that's happening all the way through. We'll have interviews with myself and the other hosts. We'll have some other walkthroughs, some other super useful stuff. We'll give you some hints, some tips and tricks. And one of my plans today for the people on site is to give away as much swag as I possibly can. So we've got a couple of competitions running. If you see me wandering around with a camera, good idea to kind of hang close. I'm going to try and blow the budget a little bit and give away a few things. So you might have seen at the shop before, if you're on site as well, there's plenty of GitHub branded swag, GitHub and GitHub Universe stuff, which is only available here. If you're at home and you want some of that, have a look at the shop, the GitHub Universe shop, or sorry, the GitHub shop, and there's universe specific stuff. Make sure you go there, grab some toys, grab some shirts, some swag for your family. Make sure you can remember this event. This is day 2. We have an entire day ahead. Such amazing stuff happening. More tips, more tricks, more stuff coming up. Make sure you read it, make sure you watch it all. Let us know what you think on the socials. And for the moment, I'm going to send it back to the garden stage where I think we are ready to interview our head honcho, Thomas. Back to you at the garden stage, folks.
Thank you so much, Damo. If you are just joining us, we have 4 tracks here at Universe, as well as a 5th live stream track, so that you can check out the sessions and see the schedule at githubuniverse.com. And that brings us to today. So here are some of the highlights that you can look for today. So over on the AI track, we've got a look at how the fields of data science and machine learning are leaping forward with GitHub. And on the cloud track, we have an insider overview of how our very own GitHub is built and maintained by GitHub. I know you love this.
I love it.
And then over on the security track, we have a look at how the massive telecommunications company TELUS implements so much of its security from a remote mountain town in British Columbia. That's cool. That's cool. All right, Anjuan, what are you most excited about today?
It's still how GitHub uses GitHub to build GitHub. That is like the superpower of GitHub, which is why it's such a phenomenally successful company. What about you?
No, I agree. The inception of it all
Yes.
is just honestly so great.
Absolutely.
But before we get to all that content, I'm so excited. Please stop whatever you're doing and join me in welcoming to the garden stage the CEO of GitHub, Mr. Thomas Gunn.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. How was your first day?
Amazing. So much energy, talking with all the customers, developers everywhere, chatting about their last year, about the excitement from the keynote yesterday. It was an amazing first day for me.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So what left you feeling the most energized after day 1 and being back, in person for our first time in like 3 years? Like what like made you maybe feel like the most excited kind of going forward?
First of all, having a keynote back in person where you're on stage, where people are clapping, where people are excited, you look at all the smiling faces, that's so much better than just watching a recording on the screen.
Yeah.
And so that's just, I think, we're back. We're back in conferences that happen in person, and we do this hybrid setup, which is great when people meeting people where they are. And then from there on out, my whole day was like riding the wave,
Nice.
with conversations that it was usually 20-minute conversations that took 35 minutes.
Right.
And
awesome.
so basically just having all the conversations, listening to feedback, seeing the excitement in people's faces, what GitHub means to them. So it was just, I had amazing energy until I fell into bed in the evening. So yeah.
And then now we're here doing it all over again.
Yes, day 2.
Exactly. Now, Thomas, you had a very powerful opening line.
Yeah.
It's a line that I want everyone watching this to be able to say at some point in their lives, and that is, I'm a developer.
Yeah.
So as a developer at heart, what do the communities around open source software mean to you?
Before we even had that opening line, we already made a statement because our keynote started at 9:30 and not at 8.
Right.
That's when developers are ready to go to a keynote, right? So, when I grew up, there was no internet, there was no open source, or when open source existed, it was something that was described in a book, but it didn't really mean something to me. And it's easy to forget what life was like back then, when you had to figure it all by yourself. You had to read magazines and books, and then if you're stuck at night, you had to go to computer club the next morning or find somebody that can help you and figure it out. And then the internet came, and all of a sudden we could, exchange discussions in news groups and Usenet and whatnot. And then obviously open source started growing, and it means the world, I think, to everybody, every developer today. Every developer is using open source. You would be kind of crazy of not using open source.
Yeah.
And so it has completely transformed how we think about software, how we build software. Obviously, we can read code and modify code and fork code and send pull requests. But we also have the ability to collaborate all around the world, right? What open source is actually better at is the collaboration model, right? That is why open source has won, because we collaborate across countries, across religions, across anything. It doesn't matter what your title is, where you're sitting in an org chart. None of this matters. All what matters is code, a joint understanding of what the project is about, maybe a contribution license agreement thing.
Right.
But it's mostly about code and collaboration, and that's what means open source to me.
No, I love that, and I think you're exactly right. That is why open source has won, because it's a better collaboration model. I love that you said that.
It's actually better, right?
It is actually better. That's the thing. It's like, for I think a long time, people were so resistant to it. And then I was like, no, but it's actually the better model. And so no matter what type of business you are, you can benefit from it, which I think is really, really great.
And all our customers want to adopt that model in their companies, right? They want to break out of the silos. They want to break out of, the political problems that you have in large companies and just collaborate in the same way that open source collaborates with each other.
Yeah, which I love, and which I love that we're seeing. Okay, so we've got some really amazing sessions today. There's Mike Hanley has a talk on security. I got to say, I love your security jacket. People can see this on the screen.
Jealous.
It's very, very slick. GitHub security.
Nice.
Very jealous of the jacket. So Mike Hanley's got a talk on security. Stormy has a talk about open source communities, just kind of what we were talking about, which is going to be great. What are you looking forward to the most about hearing about today, day 2?
I mean, obviously, Stormy's keynote right after this is all about open source and what we are doing, to empower the open source communities. Then Mike is actually doing a talk about how we build GitHub on GitHub. And I can, share a little data point that he will share a number of cool data points. And one of them is that in the last year at GitHub, we deployed 80,000 times. 80,000 deploys in the last year.
80,000 deploys.
80,000 deploys in the last year.
Okay, so
so it has lots more of those statistics.
Somebody better at math than me. What is 80,000 divided by 365? Because that's a lot of deploys a day.
Well, I hope we're not deploying on weekends.
I mean, okay,
so it's probably, let's say, 200 working days, so it's allowed 400 deploys a day.
400
maybe,
deploys a day.
380 or something. If
okay, so that's like 20 an hour. So.
Worldwide company, right?
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
But it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. And so I look forward to that session. Mike has a lot more cool statistics, a lot more insight of how we're doing, how we're building GitHub on top of GitHub, not only in engineering and product, but across the whole company. The other session I look forward to on the demo stage this afternoon, 3:30, Idan and Emilia are talking about how we are building the next generation of developer tools. It's from our GitHub Next team, and on the demo stage, it's going to be super exciting, super cool stuff to see from the GitHub Next team. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And then, of course, I have time today to mingle on the show floor, to meet with developers, to talk about their experience in the last 2 days and maybe in the last year, and looking forward.
I love that, and I love that. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us and also mingle with people, because we love this. We love seeing and hearing from you, and I know our customers really appreciate it too.
And now the sun is coming out. It's no longer as cold.
No, I was going to say we're really relieved because it was really cold yesterday.
Exactly.
Thomas, thank you so much for joining us, and please enjoy day 2 of GitHub Universe.
Thank you for having me. See you later, bye, folks.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you, Thomas.
Bye.
All right. So thank you again to Thomas for swinging by. That was really great.
That was amazing.
We got to interview our CEO.
I mean, how often do you get a chance to do that?
Not very often.
Right?
That's like a win for me. In the books.
So amazing.
But we do want to kind of check out some of the socials and see what you folks have been saying before we kick it over to Stormy's keynote. So let's kind of see what people are saying. What do you see there, Anjuan?
I'm taking a look. Wow. I think so much to kind of highlight. What about you?
Yeah, so there's some good stuff here. So if people are not familiar, one of the cool things that we have here in person is that we have a walk of stars, kind of a walk of fame for our GitHub stars and their maintainers. So a lot of people like Ahmed, who I met in person finally for the first time this week after being online friends for a really long time. So cool. He's got a great photo of him with his star. The same thing with Mario and some of the other stars. I love seeing this. Also, our girl, Mish Mannering, love you, Mish. She is in Australia. She couldn't be with us here in person this year.
Right.
But she's still been tuned in and keeping things abreast from literally the other side of the globe. I love that.
Classic Mish.
Yes.
Exactly.
Classic Mish.
Wow.
We've also got some stuff happening on discussions. So you can be sure to check that out. And one of the things, if you missed it, I think it's available online. I think we're going to be seeing it again. But if you watched Kyle Daigle's talk yesterday,
Yes.
which was fantastic, and Thomas was even mentioning that the GitHub Next stuff is going to be on the demo stage, you
Right.
might have been seeing these rubber ducks, and you're going to see these around Universe today.
That's right.
Anjuan, let's talk a little bit about the significance. Like,
Yes.
why does GitHub, we are known for an Octocat, why do we have ducks everywhere?
We have ducks because there's a book called The Pragmatic Programmer, which is a
Yep.
classic.
Classic.
And in that book, they tell the story of a software developer who would walk around with a rubber duck. And because code is so complicated, this person would sit the duck down and go line by line through the code. And so why would he talk to an inanimate object? Well, that's the point. By talking out loud to something that cannot talk back, you actually can reason through the code, and you often get great insights just through that.
Yes.
And so that is where the rubber duck came from, and we do it with humans, where someone may come in, if I say, hey, Christina, can I rubber duck some code with you?
Yep.
And that just means that Christina will sit there and listen, and often I'll figure out my problem just by
Yes.
talking it out. So that is what rubber ducking is, and that's why we have rubber ducks all around GitHub Universe 2022.
Absolutely. And these rubber ducks are special because on the bottom of them,
Yes.
they have a little GitHub logo, which I love.
I'll
They
take that
also
official.
squeak.
They do squeak.
I don't know if that's coming up through the... I think I was able to maybe get that out across to the audience
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Yeah, so I love this.
Yes.
And that video, I believe, is online now, but it'll also, I think, be shown
Absolutely,
throughout the event
after.
today.
Yeah, and one thing that Thomas said that really resonated for me is that I grew up without the internet.
Yeah.
And I remember buying computer magazines where I would find basic code for like a game.
Oh, you have to type it in.
I would type it in, yes. So no spell check, no linters, and it was just me and a piece of paper. And I actually found corrections. I made corrections sometimes, and was able to just learn how to code that way. And I was alone on my Commodore 64 in Wichita Falls, Texas,
Wow.
learning by myself. And now we have the internet, we have GitHub, where I can collaborate with people all over the world, in Australia, in New Zealand, in anywhere around the world. And so it's just a transformational time. What a time to be alive and to be a software developer.
No, I completely agree with you. We're going to pick back up on this in a second. I do want to note for anybody who's joining us now, in about 10 minutes, we're going to be, the Stormy's keynote is going to be kicking off. So if you want to head to the main stage, you can do that, or you can stay tuned if you're joining us online.
Right.
You will immediately see Stormy as soon as that is ready to kick off. But no, I want to touch on that a little bit because you're right. Like what Thomas mentioned, what you were just saying, even like 25 years ago, right?
Yeah.
The way that we collaborated, the way that we learned was so different. And in the grand scheme of things, even in computing history, 25 years ago isn't that long ago, right?
That's true.
Like Windows 95
Uh-huh.
was like now 27 years ago.
Can you believe it?
Which is crazy.
Yep.
Because it honestly feels like yesterday.
It does.
It kind of does, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. There was that thing where if you wanted to code, if you wanted to share with people, maybe you had a BBS, maybe you had Usenet.
Yes.
I did grow up with the internet, but it was a lot more limited, right?
Okay.
And even the idea of open source, as Thomas was saying, it was harder to get into.
That's
It was
right.
harder to kind of figure out. You knew about it theoretically. Maybe you read about it on a user group, like on a mailing list. But the idea of being able to collaborate and meet with people all over the world was still kind of a foreign concept.
It was.
And now, I think the reason that open source, and Stormy's going to be talking so much about this in her keynote, we're going to be talking about this throughout the day. I think the reason why the model has taken off so well and why so many people from so many different backgrounds have adopted it is because it really does allow people, doesn't matter where you're from.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter if you're in Lagos. Doesn't matter
That's
if
right.
you're in, San Francisco. Doesn't matter if you're in Antarctica.
Right.
You can actually collaborate with others and you
Absolutely.
can contribute. And if you have something you want to fix or an idea you have, you can do it.
So
and we're
powerful.
all standing on the shoulders of giants.
Absolutely. And even people who had internet back in the day, you would have to create code, write your code, zip it up into a tarball. If you had an ability to use dial-up, post it on the Usenet group, right? That's old school, but there's so much capability in the world of software where anyone, and again, I want to go back to Thomas's opening line, I'm a developer. And I love that because we want to make sure everybody can say, I'm a developer. It doesn't matter who you love. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter what gender you happen to be assigned at birth.
No.
Everyone can be a developer, and that is why GitHub is so powerful.
I agree. And I think one of my favorite things about that, too, is that I am a developer there's so much, I think, even now, there is like this imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Where people are like, oh, I'm not good enough at this.
Right.
So I can't be a developer.
Sure.
And in my career, I've met with, we've got a bunch of data science content today, which I think is great. And I've worked with a lot of data scientists, and I've worked with a lot of data journalists, and I've worked with a lot of people who can do these amazing things in Excel, like you would not believe.
Oh, yeah.
And they are coding.
Yeah.
They are like, it is more hardcore programming than what I can do. But I would say to them, like, no, but I'm not a developer. I just do all these amazing things in this tool that wasn't designed for it. I'm like, no.
Yes.
You are doing SQL. You are doing like advanced functions. Like you are programming.
That's right.
And that's the thing. Everyone, if you want to be, can be a developer. Hey, if you don't want to be, no big deal.
Yeah.
But everyone can be. And
Absolutely.
I think that's what we're trying to do at GitHub. We're trying to give the tools for everyone.
Absolutely.
We're going to bring up Damo in just a second, our colleague who has been knocking it out of the park. Come on up here, Damo.
Come on,
He's
Damo.
been knocking it out of the park for us yesterday and today, seeing all the people. Damo, you've been with the people. Like, we've been up here. We've been just kind of like, slacking, to be honest. But you've been able to be out amongst the people. What have you been hearing from the folks, on the ground the last 2 days?
I think,
what's your feedback?
I mean, it's been overwhelmingly positive. The things like code spaces, the not entitlements, the 60 hours for code spaces is pretty impressive.
That's
yes,
amazing.
So just if you're just joining us, if you're not familiar with this, whether you're the audience here or you're at home, code spaces, which is like your coding environment in the cloud, you now get it for 60 hours a month for free.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yep.
Great.
So wow.
I was actually having a chat to Craig Peters, one of the people on the team. Love
yes.
Craig. He was talking about how, he's heard a lot of really good feedback about that so far. And I know that it's changed our workflows, the way that we work. We just spin up a code space to do some work on a new project. And
it's completely changed how I code. I mean, you too, I think, right?
Absolutely.
Like Docker changed so much. But this, I'm going to be honest with you, like is taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
Because now I don't even have to worry about setting up a Docker image on my machine and make sure that stuff is processed. I can literally just, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm on, I can just create a code space.
You can just start. Yeah, exactly. But I have some questions for you.
Yes,
We're
please.
going to turn the tables a little bit.
Okay.
You've seen that I've been doing some quizzes with people to give stuff away.
Yes.
Your prize is you don't actually win anything. But So we've got some quizzes.
Okay.
What we're going to do is I'm going to give you a list of small towns. We'll take it in turns, all right?
Okay,
List of small towns. Okay. You tell me if it is the site of a major data center.
Okay.
Data center. Or...
You can say data. You're Australian. That sounds great.
Yeah,
You'll be able to translate? Okay. Or a place that has elected a dog as a mayor.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
I got it. Let's go.
We got it?
Dog as a mayor or a data center.
All right. Christina, why don't you start? Coronado, California.
Data center.
Incorrect. Yeah, Gus was a Mastiff who was the mayor of Coronado in California in 2018.
Congratulations, Mayor Gus. Good boy.
I'm shocked he didn't know that. Okay. And one. This one's for you. Bethlehem in PA, Pennsylvania? Is
Pennsylvania. That has to be a data center.
It is. It's a data center. Yep, data center. Bethlehem. All right, 1-0.
Okay, and winning.
Wow.
All right, I got to catch up.
It's a competition.
Well, obviously it's a competition, so yes.
Of course.
There's an odd number as well, so this isn't going to work at all.
Great.
Georgetown, Colorado.
Dog.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, Park was a Bernese.
Park.
P-A-R-K-E was the
Park.
name
Yeah,
of
okay, Park.
the Bernese, mayor in 2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good
Did
boy
a
or
great,
good girl.
did a really good job. Brought in a lot of
Passed
positive
a lot of
change.
reforms.
Yes, this is
really did good stuff. Yeah.
Lots of voting. I don't know how it works. All right, and one.
Okay.
And one. Talkeetna in Arkansas, AK?
Arkansas, yes. I live in Texas, next door to Arkansas.
Uh-huh.
Knowing Arkansas, I'm guessing they elected a dog as a mayor.
Yeah, I'm going to give you that.
Okay.
Technically, it was a cat.
Oh, it's a cat?
Oh, an animal as a mayor. Okay.
Well,
I'm
did
sure
say
a dog probably ran the
I did
previous
say
year.
dog as a mayor. But Stubbs, was a cat who was the mayor in
All right.
1997.
I think we've run out of time, so Anjuan wins because he got 2 right.
You got 2 right.
All right, let's
Yep.
think in terms of kind of pre-capping this keynote. What are you really looking forward to in the keynote from Stormy?
You know, one thing I love about communities is that we really believe in humanity. And Stormy's going to highlight some of the people and projects that are enabling progress for some of the biggest humanitarian efforts in the world. There's also some customer stories about the way that open source is being used and pushing the boundaries of science that you really have to see to believe. I mean, just throughout, you might want to have a Kleenex or a tissue right next to you, but yeah.
All right, and we were going to see more from Stormy and her team, what they put together. Let's go to day 2 of GitHub Universe.